Good evening. Today is the second day of the reading together of the Heart Sutra. And time goes on like this. And we really had no idea how year passes by, month passes by, going closer and closer to the Lord of Death. So that is something that we normally don't remember, but I think it's quite important to remember the reality. Because all these Buddhist teachings are meant to open our eye to see the reality. That's the question. Because we normally have this tendency to close our eye about the reality and then live in a world of imagination. That I'll work, make this much money, build a nice house, buy a nice car, or whatever, You live in a life of fantasy. I'm not against living a normal life, and Buddha definitely is not against living a normal, happy, good life, successful life, but that is not everything in life. That is what the Buddha is saying. There's not everything in this world. In fact, seeing the situation, what's happening today around the world. If you watch BBC or CNN or whatever, Al Jazeera or whatever you're watching, you can just get all the Dharma teachings in this news. How people are living, what are they trying to get, and what are they getting. It's plain clear. The only thing is we need to have some kind of patience and the capacity to sit and watch the reality. That's all. That's what the Buddha is saying. If we discuss about this word meditation, which as I said yesterday is very famous these days, but the original meaning of the word meditation, according to the Buddha's teaching, is that meditation is not just closing the eye and sitting in a corner without moving. Purpose of the meditation is to get rid of the destructive negative emotions. And it's very clear that just by sitting and closing your eye, sitting in a corner, negative emotions will not go away like that. Therefore, the only way to get rid of this destructive negative emotions is to see their reality, to look at their face. For example, all of us have this experience of getting angry. Then we need to watch. What was it like when you were angry? What was the situation? What are those words that you used against that other person? What was your facial expression? You see, watching the reality and then see how beneficial and useful that is. For example, when you get angry, first of all, you get ugly. And in our regular daily life, no one wants to become ugly. That's why we try to wear nice clothes, comb our hairs, put some cosmetics, and repeatedly look at the mirror to make sure that there are no blemishes and stains on the face. So all of us want to be a presentable men and women. But then get angry and see how you look. You may have decorated yourself very well with golden earrings and all the beautiful things. Then after that you get angry, You don't look beautiful, you don't look handsome, if that is what you want. And anger destroys that. Now look at the image of a Buddha. He doesn't have hanging earrings or long hairs to tend to, things like that, but just the calmness within the mind and the peace that is radiating from his very expression. We don't have to go very far. Look at His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Just by seeing him, we all feel happy and satisfied. Because the purpose of my reading this Heart Sutra, number one, is this is such a precious text. In Tibet, people used to write this in golden ink. These Heart Sutras, or these Wisdom Perfection Sutras, they were the most respected thing in Tibet. Now forget about writing it in gold. We hardly even know about what this Heart Sutra is, how important it is. So that's what we are trying to remember. So that's the purpose. But the main purpose is that through this kind of discussion and talk, we should be able to bring about a little bit of change in our life. That's the purpose. Because if you are unable to bring about any change, then again it's a wastage of time in a way. Of course, everybody has the right to do whatever they like, but it's not going to benefit much. So therefore, we need to take concrete examples, as I was saying. For example, with the case of anger. Even without studying any complex Buddhist philosophical text, we all have some idea that anger is basically not very good. We have that idea. So therefore, there's nobody who right in the morning makes a motivation saying that today I will get angry. Nobody makes that plan. Nobody makes that motivation, which means you have some idea that anger is not good. But in the course of the day, with your co-workers, when something goes wrong, you get angry and pick up a fight with that person, with that co-worker. And having done that, in the end of the day, when you reflect back and see how did you fare in the day, and finding that you got angry in the day and fought with somebody, there will be again nobody who will say that today I got very angry and fought with somebody, therefore I really enjoyed the day. There's nobody. As clear as that. So in my case of discussing or talking about these teachings, I try to focus on this day-to-day simple matters where we only need to remind ourselves constantly that it's not good. Because when you get angry, as I said, you get ugly, number one. Number two, you become mad. Is there anybody who wants to become mad? And by what is the definition of a mad person? A mad person is somebody who is unable to judge what is right, what is wrong. And you become exactly that when you get mad. And we do use this word saying that he was today mad with anger. We use that word, mad. So we need to ask this question to ourselves, do we want to get mad or insane? That's what the Buddha is saying. So if you don't want that, then you need to realize these realities, these truths, that how destructive these negative emotions like anger. For example, with anger, you can see, based on your own experience, what the teacher teaches, what the books say, then you reflect, based on your personal experience. What did you do when you got angry? And what did you achieve through that anger? Normally we think that if I only become tough and angry, then I will achieve something. And especially in today's world, people say, if you just talk about compassion and see there, people will start trampling on your head. You're not going to get anything. You have to be tough, rough and tough. But what do you mean by tough? To become tough through negative emotions basically means following a path of suicide. Even if you look at the nature, the tree, those trees which are not only erect, but unbending, not bending, these trees will break first when there is a strong wind. But those trees which are flexible, who knows how to bend with the wind, they do not break, you see. So therefore it is this gentle method which His Holiness Dalai Lama always encourages us, practice of non-violence, compassion. The real strength, the real energy, the real wisdom, the real awareness comes from these emotions, which is basic to our human nature. Human nature. Look at ourselves, for example. human nature, some people say human nature is brute. Some say it is kind, compassionate, but we can find that for ourselves. For example, look at our teeth. We do eat meat, but if you are to kill animals with your teeth, you'll be totally unsuccessful. So we don't have teeth like those carnivorous animals, which can use their teeth and kill animals. We don't have that kind of teeth. We don't have the nails. Some birds, with their claws, with their nails, they again kill other birds, insects and so forth. But in our case, if we use the nail to kill somebody, we will not be able to do that. And then as His Holiness Dalai Lama and many thinkers, they said, even if you look at your hand, these two hands, nice long hands are for hugging, for bringing people together, not for killing and shooting, So if you look at our basic human nature, then compassionate, loving, and non-violent way of life is extremely, extremely suitable for the flourishment of your life. So that's why in Buddhism we talk about the three trainings: ethics, concentration, and wisdom. Ethics, sutim, basically means not harming others and rather helping others. And the purpose of helping others and not harming others is when you help others and have not harmed anybody, then your mind will naturally become cool. Cool. When your mind is cool, then the elements within your body, they do not get disturbed. There's equilibrium, there's a harmony. It has been proved not only in the case of human beings, but even in the case of water or plants. When they are in a non-violent situation, then the plant flourishes much better. The waters are also able to produce some kind of mandala of, nice proportion. But in those areas where there's a lot of violence and disturbance, the waters are also not able to produce those beautiful proportions. Trees are unable to flourish. In Tibetan, we have this saying, we say, oh, Dikpa Mangpoche Yu Saredi. Sacha Korang Tsubu Hibudu Ganzu Sigurode. So scientifically now it is proved, this is true, you see. That's why we go to Bodh Gaya repeatedly. Because this is a place where Buddha practiced non-violence, compassion, and everybody when reaches there, they feel that there is a very special peaceful energy. It is possible, it is there, you see. So therefore, what is important for us is to use our knowledge, common sense, not just follow the Buddha or things like that, but having listened to Buddha's teaching or His Holiness's teaching, you need to personally experiment and investigate and see how these destructive negative emotions are bad for you, for the peace of your mind, for the peace of your body and so forth, and likewise how these positive emotions are good for you. Because at the end of the day, as I said, if there's one which really disturbs and makes your life miserable, it is not your relatives and friends, it is the destructive emotions within yourself. And if there is somebody who is really going to give you long-lasting peace and happiness, again, it is not your friends and relatives, it is the state of your mind. And I remember very well, once I was translating for His Holiness teaching, then there was an initiation that His Holiness was giving. And normally before he gives the initiation, there is a practice of removing the obstacle factors, obstructive spirits. So normally the lamas use a feather or a few leaves or something, and then they would dip it in the water and then sprinkle the water, reciting mantra by saying that, okay, evil spirits, if you're here, then don't stand here, don't stay here, don't obstruct us, don't disturb us. We are going to do some peaceful Dharma practice. And they give some tormas also as a gift and saying, go, okay, go, now go, don't disturb. So the Lama sprinkle water like this. So at one point, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, instead of following this normal tradition, he dipped that water, and then he sprinkled the water on himself. And he said, today I feel like throwing the water to myself. rather than thinking there is an obstructive, force standing there, ready to disturb you. The real obstructive force is within yourself. That's the point. The most destructive emotion, the ignorance, the self-grasping, and the self-cherishing attitude. These negative emotions are there within yourself. And in fact, His Holiness said that not only these negative emotions are within yourself, but they are resting and relaxing in the headquarters of your mind. Self-cherishing attitude and the self-grasping. These two bosses of all the forces of negative emotions, they are already in the headquarters of your mind. Imagine. And we are welcoming them all the time by saying, oh, I know you, come, please. Enjoy as you want. Come and go as you wish. I don't care, this is, I'm familiar with you. You come and go, destroy me, whatever you want to do. That's our attitude. And because of this, countless other negative emotions arise within us, and they enslave us. So therefore, the purpose of Buddhist practice is to identify these destructive negative emotions, particularly the self-cherishing attitude and self-grasping, and thereby remove all other destructive negative emotions. So therefore, Buddhist practitioners are actually like armies, fighters. Buddhist practitioners have to fight against the destructive negative emotions. The world it's important for the whole world to fight with this destructive negative emotions, which is taught by the Buddha. And once we start doing that, you can easily see, it's not that you will get enlightened in one day. It's not that you will become peaceful by attending one session of teaching, even from His Holiness. It's not like that. Although in the shop, we do see many books these days, 5 techniques for becoming happy. There's so many self-help books which claims that you will achieve enlightenment in 6 days by reading this book. Or you will become happier by remembering these points, 6 points and things like that. But according to the Buddha's teaching, there is no shortcut. There is no shortcut. There are not few tips and techniques by which you will get enlightened overnight. You need to undertake a sustained practice and gradual practice through which you will become better and better. So therefore, we have all these great texts like Stages of Meditation by Kamalashila. The title itself says Stages of Meditation, meaning that you need to practice stage by stage. There is no push button enlightenment. There is no quick fix solution. Similarly, Lamrim, the gradual stages of the path to enlightenment. Gradual, Lamrim, Rimbe Gomye. And that is exactly in accordance with the nature, like the trees. If the tree it is taking time to grow, you can't just pull it and make it grow overnight. It has to take time. The flowers have to take time. Even when you construct a house, it has to take time. And this is especially true in our case, because our mind is deeply stuck in the quagmire of negative emotions. We are very, very strongly habituated with this. So the question is how to come out of this die-hard habit. Even with realization, even with the knowledge this is not good, we repeatedly do this. Because you are happy with that, you are familiar with that. And people feel that it is better to live with a familiar enemy than to try to contact an unfamiliar friend. That's our attitude, you see. So therefore, we need to repeatedly remember that I want happiness, as I said yesterday, and I want long-lasting happiness. And in this project of getting that long-lasting happiness, I have to be my master. I have to take care of myself. I have to work hard. Because the rest are like dream. In fact, your life is a dream and the rest are like dream. Your wealth, your name, your fame, whatever you are going to get. I'm not saying you don't need that. But if you just hang on to that, thinking that these are the source of long-lasting peace and happiness, you are not going to get anything. So whether you like it or not, the only method and process of getting that long-lasting peace and happiness is self-mastery, self-realization, and cultivating these inner qualities so that you are able to stand firm, peaceful and happy wherever you are. If you are happy in India, not happy in America, something is wrong. If you are not happy in India but happy in America, something is wrong. So through this spiritual practice, you need to develop a mental outlook based on which you will be happy wherever you go. And that is possible. I'm not saying it is easy. Definitely not easy. But it is possible. Let me remind you this possibility by citing a quotation from one great Tibetan teacher who was doing a lot of mind training practice. And he said, if I'm going to die tonight, wonderful. Look at this. He said, if I'm going to die tonight, wonderful. He's not saying this because he is pessimistic. And he reasoned this out by saying that if I'm going to die tonight, wonderful, because I'm not going to continue to live creating suffering on others. So from that perspective, if I'm going to die tonight, wonderful. But he's not pessimistic. And he follows this by saying, if I'm not going to die tonight, but I'm going to live a long, long, healthy life, wonderful. Because by living a long, long life, I can benefit many, many people. Many, many suffering sentient beings. So that you can look at this mental perspective. So for such a person, whatever opportunity is there, it's for the benefit of others. And once you do that, once you concentrate more about benefiting others, your own peace and happiness will be there as a byproduct. Right now we are not getting that because we are too much self-obsessed. All the time thinking about I, me and mine. I, me and mine. The little circle around. Mine means my clothes, my house, my family, relatives and so forth. Very small world. Now it is scientifically proved that people who make a lot of self-references and saying I, me and mine, these people are susceptible to all kind of illnesses, including heart attack. And I attended this conference in a place very close to New York several years back with His Holiness Dalai Lama. There was a scientist who came out with data proving this point. And in the Buddhist text, it has been explained long time back. If you read, for example, Chandakirti's Madhyamika Avatara, there is a quotation by saying, Tangbo ngashe dagla shenjuruchi, dagi nishi ngola charchepa, sojun chenda rama mewai. That means it is because of this clinging to me and mine that you get entrapped in this wheel of life. How is this so? This is so because the more you think about only me and mine, your focus becomes narrow. You develop this tunnel vision, I, me and mine, very small world. When you think small, you get constricted. Your vision becomes narrowed. And within that narrow tunnel vision, even if there's a small problem, difficulty, you will see it as if this is of unsurmountable magnitude. Oh my goodness, I am having this problem. Because you are thinking only about, I am having this problem. How many other millions of people are suffering much more than what you are suffering, but you are not able to think about that. You are completely stuck with this problem with yourself. Only think about this. Then the suffering, the problem becomes intolerable. But if you go a little bit beyond that, okay, I'm suffering. But what about others? There are many who are suffering much more than me. just by that kind of opening up, because of that wider perspective, it will lessen your suffering. You can do a test with this, experiment this. I normally give an example of two people suffering from terrible migraine headache, let us say. Suffering from terrible migraine headache. Two people, let us say. Terrible suffering migraine headache of same magnitude, same intensity. As far as the physical suffering of the migraine headache is concerned, let us say they are suffering by the same intensity. But there will be a lot of difference in terms of their attitude. Now, one person who has this negative attitude, when he gets this migraine headache, he starts thinking negatively by saying, oh, my head is splitting up. Why of all people I am having this migraine headache? God is said to have created everything. If that is true, He has created this migraine headache. So I hate God. If he's a Buddhist follower, he say, Buddha is said to have a lot of compassion, but I am suffering from this migraine headache. Where is his compassion? He'll start complaining the God, complaining the Buddha, whatever. When his friends come to see him, try to casual with him or say something nice, he'll get angry by saying, get lost. I'm dying here with this headache and you're making fun of me. Get lost. If his friends and relatives come to say, take rest, have food, how can I eat food? I'm dying with this headache, you see. So he don't want anybody around him. He don't want to go to hospital for treatment. He don't want to find out about the causes of the headache. So we'll develop this absolutely negative attitude which will increase the headache. Now this is scientifically found, the truth of this. Now in the case of the other person who is having the same migraine headache of the same intensity, who has a positive mental attitude, if he is a believer in a God, he might say, if the God has created everything, there must be a reason for this one. If he's a Buddhist, he might say, oh, this is good, I'm having a lot of headache, but this will purify some of my negative karmas. Then when his friends come, he will talk with them, he will find out about the possible causes of the migraine headache. Maybe I drank something, maybe I have shortage of sleep, maybe I am hungry, because headache comes due to many other causes and conditions. So he will try to solve that by taking medicine, taking rest, taking food, being happy and so forth, and it really, really helps in recovering quickly that migraine headache. Therefore what I'm saying is this spiritual practice is not just letting yourself confused with a world of fantasy. They are not a luxurious pursuit. This spiritual practice is not like living in a 5-star hotel, If you have money, you can live in a 5-star hotel, stay in a 5-star hotel. If you don't have money, you don't have to stay in a 5-star hotel. But you need a place where to sleep and have some food, you see. So it's like this. This spiritual practice is a necessity. And unfortunately, people are now so distracted by the external glamorous life. They hardly give any time to the needs of this inner spiritual urge. So therefore today, if the world is suffering, it is basically suffering from inner poverty than any other external poverty. Even if there is an external poverty, this is definitely an offshoot of the internal poverty. So therefore, it's important for us to reflect and understand the reality as is explained by the Buddha in several of his discourses, and this time we are reading the Heart Sutra. And I have briefly explained the few Sanskrit lines yesterday, so I will now start reading. Thus have I heard once. Thus have I heard once. So from here, in this one or two lines, he is speaking about what is known as the Phusum Sawanga, the 5 excellences, the 5 perfections, whatever you want to use it, 5 excellences. The first is, thus have I heard once, is talking about the excellent timing. Thus have I heard once. Of course, this has a lot of meaning. One is, thus have I heard, means, thus have I heard once. He's saying that I've heard this profound teaching on the Shunyata once and I understood it. So this is showing that he's really of sharp mental faculty. Another meaning is, Dasep, I heard once. That means I was lucky. I was lucky I was able to hear this teaching on the profound Shunyata, emptiness. Once I was, just like saying, oh, once I was able to attain His Holiness Kalachakra. So that is to say that you're not going to get this opportunity again and again. So therefore the Buddhist masters, they repeatedly urge their students and practitioners, don't postpone your practice. So he's also saying, don't postpone your practice. This is very lucky opportunity that you have got this opportunity to hear this teaching once. Thus have I heard once. So that's talking about the excellent timing. The blessed one. This translation may be not very appropriate, but it's difficult to translate it also. Chomdende, chomdende, chomdende. Chomba means one who has destroyed all the negative emotions, and Demba, one who possesses all the positive qualities in a short way. So this is talking about the excellent teacher, the Buddha. The Buddha is somebody who has destroyed all the afflictive emotions and who has cultivated all the positive emotions. The blessed one. Was dwelling in Rajagriha at Vulture Peak mountain. So this is talking about the excellent place. The place where he heard this profound teaching was in Rajagriha at Vulture Peak. So these two places, Rajagriha and Vulture Peak, is talking about two places suitable for two followers. Rajagriha is the Rajgriha. Raj is king. Graha means gar, the place where the king was living. So this is basically talking about the place where the lay practitioners like the kings were living. And the Vulture Peak, Grida Kuta, the Vulture Peak is primarily the place where the Buddha was giving the teaching and the sanghas and the monks were living and practicing. So it's talking about the places for the lay people and also for the monks. Rajagriha has a lot of definition. Rajagriha at that time the king was Bimbisara, Javusugjinjingbo, Bimbisara. So at his time, it is said there were some non-human beings were constantly, burning the houses of people by fire. So the king was quite fed up with that incident and happening, and he passed a decree by saying, next time, whoever is irresponsible and have their fire burned by fire, they will be sent to the cemetery. It will be sent to the cemetery. But interestingly, the next house which caught fire was the king's palace. But in those days, the kings used to practice what they teach, not like the leaders today. So the king actually moved to the cemetery, and that place became the Rajagriha, where the king was living, Rajagriha. Vulture Peak, that mountain which most of you must have visited, which is very close to Nalanda. Today you can see a lot of rocks around there. Some of them at a distance looks a little bit like vulture, So why this place is called Vulture Peak, there are a lot of definitions which may not be so important. So that is the place where the Buddha gave the wisdom perfection teaching. Together, and then this is now next, together with the great gathering of the Sangha of monks and great gathering of the Sangha of the Bodhisattvas, this is talking about the excellent core, retinue, followers, people who were there attending Buddha's teaching. Sangha of monks. This is basically it's talking about Gelungke Gindu Chimboda, not just Sangha of monks. Gelung. In Tibetan we use the word Gelung, which means bhikshu. Bhikshu, of course, refers to somebody who has received the highest ordination. But here in this case, the word bhikshu refers to arhats, those people who had completely destroyed negative emotions. Sangha of monks, Gelungke Gindu Chimboda. Gindu Chimbo, Gelung is bhikshu. The literal meaning of the word Gelung means one who lives his life by begging the food and by cultivating the virtuous qualities. Bhikshu, Gelung. But here, Gelung refers to Arhat, those who have completely destroyed negative emotions. Gelung ki Gendumba, a word which we normally use. Gendun, that means those who have unchangeable determination and respect to Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Gewa, Dumba is aspiration. Those people who have very strong aspiration and determination, unchanging determination and aspiration towards virtuous practices, including taking refuge to Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Nobody can stop them. Gindun, that's the meaning. Gelungi Gindun Chembo. Chembo refers to big gathering. So there was a big gathering of the Sarvakas. Other than the Bodhisattvas, there was a big gathering of Sarvakas who were also attending this discourse by the Buddha. And on top of that, there is also Changchup Sembe Gendu Chembodan, there is also a big gathering of Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas, Changchup Semba. Changchup Sem and Changchup Semba are different. Many people get confused. Changchup Sem is the mind. Changchup Sem is the mind wishing to achieve enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. That is Changchup Sem. And when one has cultivated that mind within oneself, then that's called Changchup Semba, Bodhisattva. Bodhicit is Changchup Sem, Bodhisattva is Changchup Semba. Changchup Sembe Ginju Chemboda. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi that expresses the Dharma called profound illumination, and at the same time, Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, while practicing the profound Parajna Paramita, so in this way, he saw the 5 skandhas to be empty of nature. So here, one thing we should clearly understand today is Bodhicitta and Bodhisattva. Don't hope to understand everything. I don't understand everything, okay? Once I was invited to give some talks on Buddhism in Switzerland, long time back. Quite good gathering came. Then I said, okay, I will remove some of your confusions. Number one confusion is that because I'm here giving, explaining Dharma, you might be thinking I'm a great Lama. So that's a great confusion. I'm not a great Lama. I'm not here to give you chawang. I have no power. I'm not here to give you red sungdu protecting, cord. I don't have that. So don't see me in that way. I'm here to study together with you. So I'll be trying to explain something, and after that I will be asking questions. I will slowly try to explain at least some of the important words, and you need to remember this. And if you don't remember this, tomorrow I'm going to ask you. You need to answer. So I remember that time very well because there were a lot of elderly people sitting in front. When I said that, they were nudging each other. You see, Shebala. So my purpose of saying that, this is what I fundamentally believe. Whether you are studying Dharma, whether you are studying Tibetan language, whether you are studying English, whatever you are studying, you need to make it a point that whatever little you have studied, you should know that thoroughly. If you know the meaning of that word, the meaning of that sentence, if you make it a point to know that precisely and thoroughly, the progress you will make within a short period of time will be amazing. So that's what I normally try to do. So that's why at that point I asked the people that now, for example, I know that you've received Kala Chakra so many times. So tell me, what do you mean by Kala Chakra? There may be few who may know that, but nobody, answered, and they were all like maintaining a deep silence. So therefore, we need to make it a point to know what is bodhicitta here today. Changchup ji sem. Bodhicitta means Changchup ji sem. Changchup ji sem. Changchup ji sem. Chang means to purify. To purify. To purify. To remove. Remove what? The destructive negative emotions. Chup means to internalize. To equip oneself to have, to possess. It's exactly like sangye. Sangye ngazu segrava yangse sangye. The word sang means to khaza namki dukja hiuju timba hiu da tan nambe sangdoa. That means it's cleared up. The cloud has cleared up. It's gone now. It has been removed. It has been, it is vanished. Sangwa means to remove, to get rid of. So Buddha has got rid of all the negative emotions. Sangwa. Ni sangwa. Timba sangwa. Namka sangwa. Sangwa. Awake. To remove. Geba means Khazan charwa hiudan chu hiu jesha. Geba means to develop. To develop. So sangye means these two words. Sang means Buddha is somebody who has removed sangwa, removed all the negative emotions, and who has jeva, developed all the positive qualities. So similarly, changchu. Chang means to purify all the negative emotions. Chu means to possess, to equip, or to have all the positive qualities. So changchu refers to the state of sangye, the completely enlightened state. Changchup ki sem. So that means now we are talking about the mind. Sem is mind. We are talking about mind that aspires to have that Buddhahood. May I become Buddhahood. So the definition of bodhicitta is, may I become a Buddha. It's a mind which is saying, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So you are talking about two things. You are developing two aspirations. One, the aspiration to become a Buddha. Second, the aspiration to help others. How nice if I become a Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. That's Changchu Jisem. So because we talk about this word Changchu Jisem so many times, Changchu Semjo Rimbo Jema Jeban Jevan. So you need to know this very, very well. Now this mind, Changchu Jisem, is said to be very important. Why? We normally say loving kindness is important, compassion is important. Of course, they are all very important. But this Changchu Sem is especially important because it is talking about getting the highest state, enlightenment, for the benefit of all suffering sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all suffering sentient beings. You cannot have a mind which is so far-reaching, so benevolent, then Changchu Jisem. So therefore we are lucky, the Tibetans or whoever is practicing Buddhism, whatever, we are lucky that we have access to such a knowledge. We are today living in a world where we repeatedly talk about globalization with great pride. The leaders of different countries, they say, oh, we are living in a world of, living in a global world, and we talk about globalization. Globalization is not talking about all sentient beings. It's talking about human beings, primarily. And that is also not talking in terms of getting that long-lasting peace and happiness. It's talking about doing business. Even there we say, okay, we are now living in a global world and talk about globalization. But with those of us who follow Buddhist teaching, we are talking about, I don't know what new word we should use, but we are talking about benefiting all sentient beings, including the tiniest insect. That is our culture. That's our culture. That's our tradition. That's our religion. Imagine. Without making any discrimination whatsoever, talking about well-being of all sentient beings. We are not saying well-being of all Buddhists, well-being of all Tibetans. We are not saying. We are talking about well-being of all sentient beings. Even today, even in the case of young people, I've seen many young people living here or elsewhere. They may know much, they may not know much. But I heard even today, many young people say, Nyingje, Nyingje. So their tradition is there, their culture is there. But what is important is now we should not just say Nyingje by the mouth, but it has to be there deep down in the heart. And that you can develop by studying, reflecting repeatedly about this. then you will understand how important it is. Don't worry about finishing this text. What's important is we need to do the real business, you see. I want you to understand something, especially the young people. I want you to understand something, you see. At the time of the Buddha, there was a monk by the name Malukya. So he was doing his meditation. One early morning he said, I have received a lot of teachings from the Buddha. He's been very kind to me. But there are certain difficult questions he did not answer. So today I must go and ask these difficult questions. And if he do not answer these questions, I will feel uncomfortable. You see? So with this kind of thinking, he got up from his meditation, went straight to the Buddha, and then he started asking all these difficult questions, saying that, Buddha, you did not answer when did the universe started, how it will come to an end, where there's a past life, future life. So many difficult questions. The Buddha said, number one, I am not looking for followers. If you want to follow me or not follow me, I don't care. I'm not looking for followers. This, number one, this is a sign of great teacher. Today's world, teachers are looking for students without proper qualification. They are trying to increase their followers by money or whatsoever. So Buddha said, number one, I'm not looking for followers. Then he answered this question indirectly by saying, look, if somebody shoots an arrow from an unknown distance and hit you by that arrow and you are bleeding, at that time what would you do? Will you take that arrow out immediately and take medication? Or will you say, no, I need to get all the answers first? Who shot the arrow? From which direction the arrow came? What was the speed of the arrow on the way? And how strong the person who shot the arrow? Whether he is a moustache or not. Even in this event, you can ask 100,000 questions. What was the bow made of? What was the arrow made of? What kind of leather it was? You can. If you say that unless I get answer to all this, I'm not going to take medication, then before you get the answer, you will be a dead man. Then the monk said, yes, of course, first I'll take medication. Then Buddha said, here you go. The world has too much suffering, and you can do so many things right now before you try to get all these complicated questions. You see. Amazing answer. Amazing answer. I do give a lot of talks in different parts of the world. And sometimes I tell people like you who come to listen to the talk, I tell them, I don't feel comfortable giving talks to you because you are already good people. Bad people probably will be not here. Terrorists will not be here. So it's like preaching the convert, you see. So by this, what I'm saying is that we already know a lot actually. To be honest, it's not that we don't know anything. We already have a good sense of direction, what we should be doing, what we should not be doing. We have good sense of direction of that. But the area where we fail is we are unable to practice. Even after knowing this is what I should be doing, we are unable to do that. Even after knowing that this is what I should not be doing, we keep on doing it, you see. So getting rid of this die-hard habit, that's a difficult task. So therefore, we need to make a determination. For example, most of us go to attend His Holiness teaching or some other teachings, important teachings, we go. So during those occasions, you need to make a little bit of commitment by saying, okay, from this time onwards, I will spend around this time for study, for meditation, for reflection. And once you start doing that, the amount of peace and happiness that you get, the amount of knowledge that you get, and thereby the amount of peace and happiness that you get will be tremendous. That's why in the West, in the East, there is a rich tradition of studying philosophy, Western philosophy, Eastern philosophy, whatever. So those philosophical traditions are there not to, again, just waste your time, but they are there to help you show the direction so that accordingly you are able to mold your life, change your life. So therefore knowledge is important. For example, if you are standing at a crossroad, not knowing where to go, then you need to ask people. You need to use reason and so forth. And through this kind of analysis, you will be able to find the right direction and you will reach the right goal. If you don't ask other people and you yourself not know and simply move, you may be in the wrong direction. In our ordinary life, it is like this. So in order to reach your goal, in order to move into the right direction, there's no other way but to ask questions, to understand the reality, to understand the way things are. That's exactly what the Buddha is saying. So therefore, some people call this sutra Heart Attack Sutra. Because this sutra is saying something against what our ordinary belief. Ordinarily we think there are things existing from its own side. This text is saying no. So that is mesmerizing, shocking, because you thought as an ordinary person, we thought that there should be an object that you should love. That object must be there, lovely, nice, 100% good. And if this text says no, that's not there, it's shocking, you see. It's shocking. So we'll discuss more about this shocking thing later on, okay? So what I'm really trying to say is that this whole Buddhist philosophy and teaching is talking about understanding the way things are, understanding the reality. It is by not understanding the way things are, it is not by understanding the reality we are suffering. That's what the text is saying. Things are impermanent, but we believe that things are permanent. Things are of suffering nature, we believe that this is happiness. So it is because of these perverse views that we are suffering. So therefore, Buddha is helping us with this kind of teaching to open the wisdom eye. So at that time, the blessed one entered the samadhi that expresses dharma called profound illumination. That means at that time, when this sangha of monks and bodhisattvas have all gathered there, then the Buddha entered into meditation on the profound illumination. The blessed one means the Buddha entered into the samadhi. That means samadhi means one-pointed meditation. And that meditation here is called, that expresses the dharma called the profound illumination. Profound. Emptiness is profound. Okay? Emptiness is profound. So Buddha's mind, meditative mind, enters into that profound emptiness. And because the Buddha's mind is lost in that profound emptiness, there is a clear, vivid appearance of emptiness to his mind, which is called illumination. I mean, the English translation may not necessarily be correct. It can be different, you see. But the meaning is that Buddha has a very profound appearance of emptiness because his mind is lost into that emptiness. So at that time means when all these good followers, interested followers whose minds are ready to listen to this profound teaching, when such students are there, then that is the appropriate time. At that time is the appropriate time. So therefore the Buddha entered into meditation on the profound illumination. That is not to say that normally he is not entering into meditation. He is always in meditation. But he almost like acted for the benefit of these followers that he entered into meditation. And that's to inspire others that he acted to enter into this profound meditation, which is normally, of course, he is always in deep meditation. And because of this blessing, at the same time, because of this blessing, the noble Avalokiteshvara, noble means Arya, somebody who has already realized emptiness directly, noble Arya, Bhagwa. Bhagwa means who has transcended and moved from the ordinary level to the transcendental level, Arya. Noble Avalokiteshvara, Chenre Sik, Chen re sik. Chen is I. Re is like chen ki chu sik doa. Chen re sana chen ki chu. Chen ki chu di sim chen ki dunga la takwara ki sik de ki yoza chen re sik. Avalokiteshvara means one whose eye is always looking towards suffering of sentient beings. Avalokiteshvara chen re sik wangchuk. Wangchuk means one who continuously look towards suffering of sentient beings and who had gained mastery over that practice. Chen re sik. Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva. Now you know the meaning of Bodhisattva. Okay? Bodhisattva, Mahasattva. While practicing Mahasattva, Bodhisattva, Mahasattva means because in the case of the Bodhisattva practice, there are many great practices, like focusing on the well-being of all sentient beings, focusing on achieving enlightenment, so therefore it's called Mahasattva. While practicing the profound Parajana Paramita, so because of this blessing from the Buddha, Avalokiteshvara also entered into meditation on the profound Parajana Paramita. Parajana Paramita means wisdom gone beyond. Okay? And because he entered into the profound meditation on the Parajana Paramita, so in this way, so what Avalokiteshvara saw, after having inspired by the Buddha's meditation on the profound Shunyata, Avalokiteshvara, he saw the skandhas to be empty of nature. So here again you can see the English translation is missing something, because the Tibetan word says Chanju Semba Semba Chimba Phagwa Chen is Wangju Hirabji Paro the Chimba Samu Choba Nila number Tashing Pumbonga Tida Layang. This yang is not here in English. Pumbonga Tida Layang Ranshin Jitumba number Tao. That means Avalokiteshvara was also seeing the five skandhas. Five skandhas means five aggregates. Sup, Sorwa, Dushi, Duji, Namhi, Pumbonga. He also saw the five skandhas of the empty of nature, means not only he saw the person, not only he saw the I or the person having no inherent existence, but he also saw the five skandhas as having no independent inherent existence. It is a little bit easier to explain the lack of inherent existence of the five aggregates than the person, because the five aggregates are something that you can pinpoint. Okay? So therefore, this implies that he has also seen the lack of inherent existence of the person or the I.